words hurled in the face of reason, yet they have the power to destroy.
Her husband was committed to an insane asylum. Her 9-year-old son was run over by a car.
They can reach beyond time, beyond space, tracking their victim through eternity.
A curse is something that, of course, you cannot prove scientifically, but it destroys you.
They don't require belief. They don't require acceptance. They only demand we obey their evil commands. They are curses.
Beyond what is known lies an unexplored world of shadows and phantoms. A land that knows no limits of time or space. From the dawn of discovery to the nightfall of catastrophe. Journey to a universe of the unexplained, the unforeseen, the unbelievable. A place beyond reality where no question will go unanswered. A place where myth and legend are law, superstition a science.
It's time for our journey to begin. Your icy grip reaches beyond death, beyond life. A curse, an evil prayer. Knowledge surrounds these library walls, and with these instruments, that knowledge can be ours. We've all made declarations of anger, maybe even considered terrible revenge for real or imagined wrongs. Some of us have even invoked curses. But most of us slowly return to our senses, our anger fading with time. But what of curses that seem to live on forever? These words conjure up forces that hover over the real world like evil spirits. Spirits that we ignore at our own peril. This is Hawaii, a land of beauty, a land where time rests and then moves on. But under the surface of this beauty there is something troubling, a force beyond comprehension, a curse that haunts those who remove stones from this sacred volcano.
Each year, thousands of people send back rocks and letters to the national park, wanting us to dispose of them. There are many, many people in Hawaii who still believe in the goddess Pele. Some of my very good friends still believe in the goddess Pele. And I'm not going to say I don't.
Who is the goddess Pele? Quite simply, she is said to possess this volcano called Mauna Loa, and becomes angry if people desecrate her possession, anger that is said to reach around the world. This is Cho Park Lai, one of Hong Kong's foremost Feng Shui experts, and his day-to-day job involves battling with demons and spirits. Loosely translated, Feng Shui means wind and water, and very few buildings are constructed without obtaining expert advice. The Chinese believe that the design of a building can determine the fortunes of those who reside within. A structure out of harmony with the spirits risks a terrible fate, a curse that will affect all who work inside. And few architects risk building without their advice, and Feng Shui rituals like these are as much a part of construction as laying a foundation. Is this superstition or prudence? Around the world, in Washington, D.C., in the United States, one of the world's most dangerous and beautiful objects can be found. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people come to this gallery. They stand in awe in front of this display case, for inside there sits a tiny object that has earned a frightening reputation, the Hope Diamond.
There certainly appears to be a lot of stories about a curse that go with the Hope Diamond, and so many people have been affected by it adversely. Many authors have tried to disprove the curse. I myself am not sure if there's a curse, but everybody that had it has had tremendous problems.
It is said that this glittering gem has driven men and women insane, and on occasion robbed them of their lives. There just seems to be something about this stone that brings misfortune to its owners, as a glance at its history will attest. Originally known as the French Blue Diamond, it once weighed over 112 carats and was found in India, when, no one can say. Purchased by the French King Louis XIV in 1668, it was recut to a new shape and configuration of about 67 carats, and was promptly stolen after Louis XVI lost his head in the French Revolution. It next appeared in London and was purchased by Henry Hope in 1830. It stayed with his family until their fortune was wiped out, and was quickly sold 3 more times until it came to America in 1911, when it was purchased by a wealthy eccentric, Evelyn McLean. It stayed in her hands until she was committed to a mental institution. Is there any truth to these theories that the diamond is cursed? Does the glitter and sparkle of the Hope Diamond obscure some dark and mysterious force?
There is no real reasonable explanation for this trail of death and destruction that has accompanied the Hope Diamond in its history. No other diamond seemingly has had any effect on history such as this stone.
The Hope Diamond curse is surely just a fantasy. We don't know exactly when it started, how it came about, but it's been embellished over the years.
Well, if you talk to me, I think you will come up with curses foiled again, because I don't really believe in the curses associated with the Hope Diamond.
I will say that whoever owned the diamond had an awful lot of difficulty, whether it was Louis XVI, who was of course beheaded, to his wife Marie Antoinette, who was of course beheaded. Many people still say that the stone is still cursed, that they've written to the Smithsonian to please bring the diamond back to Mr. Winston, because since we donated it in 1958, things in America have gone downhill.
Well, we always thank them for their concern when they write, and we tell them that we don't take the curse seriously.
In and of itself, a 44.5 carat blue diamond is so extremely rare as to make it an important stone. But the fact that the curse, or supposed curse, is on the stone does enhance it tremendously. It doubles its importance to the world.
The curse of the Hope Diamond, if it exists, has been lethal for 400 years. But in the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, there may be a curse that has survived 5,000 years. It began when a boy in his late teens suddenly died from mysterious causes. This boy was no ordinary person. He was a king. And his name was Tutankhamun. May the cobra on my head spit flames of fire into thy face, and may thy head be in the place of my feet. That curse was found over the mummy Kapa Amen, a high priest whose tomb was discovered 50 years before Tutankhamun. It describes the fate of anyone rash enough to have disturbed his final resting place. Alas, history has not recorded its accuracy. But history has illuminated the fates of the men and women who penetrated the gloom of antiquity and brought King Tut out of the darkness. On November 26, 1922, history was rediscovered and made. On that day, Howard Carter, an American archaeologist, gazed for the first time upon the magnificent tomb of King Tutankhamun, an unparalleled discovery that has left its mark upon the world's imagination. On that day, Carter's wavering flashlight illuminated a chamber stuffed with treasures that would forever redefine the word priceless. treasures truly fit for a king. The search for this tomb had gone on for years and cost many thousands of pounds, and Lord Carnarvon almost withdrew his financial backing. But Carter convinced him to mount one last effort. Both men were rewarded by world fame and a haunting legacy. Though the tomb was first opened in November, it took 3 months of painstaking evacuation before Carter was prepared to enter the innermost sanctum. On February the 17th, 1923, Carter was ready. Very carefully, he broke the sacred seal, and with Lord Carnarvon by his side, gazed upon the golden riches of the boy king. And almost immediately thereafter, whispers of a curse began, as death seemed to stalk the men and women who were present on that day.
This story came after King Tutankhamun's discovery, when the man called Lord Carnarvon, he was a very rich Englishman, after he visited the tomb, after 3 years, he was suddenly dead through an unknown disease.
In just 6 years, disease and accidents claimed 12 men and women, and the curse of King Tut entered modern legend. 12 deaths in 6 years. It's not surprising that almost immediately whispers of a terrible curse began, whispers that have become popular belief. Now, what are the chances that these strange deaths occurred naturally to this unfortunate group of men and women? When a legend is at stake, it is always difficult to separate fact from fiction, for belief has a way of defying evidence. For example, skeptics have pointed out that while many people visited the newly opened tomb, most did not die mysteriously. If we look closely at contemporary mortality rates and check the reported cause of death of the more famous victims of the curse, the odds do seem to defy the skeptics. Still, the data remains inconclusive. Is this proof of a curse or a coincidence? Maybe neither. For the curse of King Tutankhamun may be attributable to something equally mysterious and lethal. The killer inside the tomb may have been waiting silently for thousands of years, striking without warning, without mercy. But this mysterious killer may finally have an identity.
For me as an Egyptologist, I excavated for the last 20 years, everywhere. If you close this room for 5,000 years, what's going to happen? This room will contain germs that no one can see. Ancient times, people opened tombs quickly, they get in, then they were hidden by germs, always, and they die. But when I excavate now, and I find a tomb, which I found 10 years ago, a tomb, I always open it for the fresh air to get in, bad air to go out. Always advise my assistant, do not shave. Because if you shave early in the morning, this will be open for germs to hit you quickly. But if you have a beard, nothing can happen.
I can speak for half an hour about the curse of the pharaohs. You know, the pharaohs sometimes has written curse to the one who will open my tomb. But Tutankhamun especially, from whom came the curse of the pharaoh, said, bless those who will make my name known forever. And those who has excavated his tomb have made his name more living forever.
The incredible media furor that accompanied this discovery obscured and then distorted the real story. For example, it is widely believed that a curse was inscribed over the doorway to the tomb. Untrue. Howard Carter, the man most responsible for uncovering the treasures, lived to 1939 when he died of natural causes. If there was a curse, surely he would have been the first to suffer its deadly consequences.
The mystery about the curse of the pharaohs, it's fascinating. Made people to believe in that. If anything happened to someone, it's the curse of the pharaohs. My opinion, there is no curse at all.
The curse comes from us, not from the ancient Egyptians.
Still, the legend of King Tut lives on. As long as there are people who believe in a curse, it'll seem to have a life of its own. In Haiti, a small country in the Caribbean, belief in curses is a way of life. In fact, they're an integral part of the local religion. a mysterious and powerful religion known to the world as voodoo. The word voodoo has come to symbolize the mysterious, the dangerous, and the forbidden. These strange charms are said to have powers of life and death. But recently, science has found an explanation for one of voodoo's most potent myths. That myth has a name: zombie. Haiti is a land torn apart by contrasts between rich and poor, between myth and reality. And just underneath the outsider's perspective, a strange religion percolates to its own ancient rhythm, a religion called voodoo. Haiti was settled by slaves, the land made fertile by the blood and sweat of their labor, and voodoo comes from somewhere deep in their past, some uncharted land, a mysterious belief system that has led to some misconceptions from those not privy to its dark secrets.
There is nothing as one has to be afraid regarding voodoo, because you're not going to be harmed or killed. You have the religion to help you to solve your problems. So voodoo helps a great deal of people solve their problems.
Curses are an undeniable part of voodoo, and one of the most feared curses is the command that can turn a man or woman into a zombie.
A curse is real, and there are people who are good at it who can put a curse on someone. For instance, people who do have big plantations and would like to have zombies to work in those plantations, they have things to do to make people to become zombies. So those people will work for nothing, and they will not speak, they will not move, like any human being. So curse, you ask me if the curse is real? Yes, it is extremely real.
Recently, an American scientist named Wade Davis exploded some of the myths surrounding zombies and discovered that their genesis was not spiritual, but chemical. A specially mixed potion that can induce a catatonic state.
To make a long story short, what we showed is that the drug that they're using in Haiti was not only theoretically capable of, but we knew for a fact had caused people to appear to be dead even those people were not dead. What the zombie drug could do is make someone susceptible to a whole series of psychological pressures. They could make someone appear to be dead, but what creates a zombie was a whole worldview and a set of beliefs.
Those beliefs have reverberated throughout Haiti, with echoes being heard around the world. Voodoo has come to symbolize a shadowland where anything is possible and everything permitted. But to those who have studied voodoo closely, it is sadly misunderstood, with curses a very small part of its existence.
The truth is that voodoo is a wonderfully benign, legitimate religion, and it's a quintessentially democratic religion, because a person not only has direct access to the spirit realm, he actually receives the gods into his body. The Voodoos say the white man goes to church and speaks about God, we dance in the temple and become God.
And those gods seem to be able to reach out, to charm and occasionally enslave the living. Curses do exist. How they work has led to debate. Is it possible for belief alone to kill? For acceptance to lead to resignation and then death? Are curses only in our minds? If curses do exist, they exist in a shadowland, caught between conjecture and belief, between myth and imagination. There seems to be something in the human unconscious that willingly responds to these dark powers of suggestion, meaning that curses may be a result of mind over matter, of unreason over reason. We're all creatures of habit, and perhaps those habits remain locked away in our minds, a mystic doorway that is the key to understanding what curses are and can be. Science has proved that the mind is capable of almost anything. Curses can inhabit the mind and perhaps control and destroy it if we allow them to. We know that curses are created by man and rationalized by man, but it seems they may not have to be obeyed by man, and in that lies hope. A curse may be a warning, not a verdict. Their power may lie inside us all.
Secrets and Mysteries presents information based in part on theories and opinions, some of which are controversial. The producer's purpose is not to validate any side of an issue, but through the use of actualities and dramatic recreation, relate a possible answer, but not the only answer, to this material.
According to a recent poll taken in the United States, half of its population believe that the universe is inhabited by other intelligent life. The rest of the world cannot be far behind. The 1950s witnessed a sharp increase in the number of sightings all around the world, and with it, more and more evidence that something unusual was happening in our skies. Even the United States government took notice, beginning an official Air Force investigation called Project Blue Book. Their files soon overflowed with more than 12,000 sightings. These water beasts may well be the most ancient surviving inhabitants of our planet.
Did I see the monster? I don't know, but I do believe that, I obviously saw some things, and nobody's been able to tell me what I saw. So I think I must have seen the monster.
Stonehenge. That place has become a metaphor for the magnificent, the unfathomable, and the mysterious.
I have the feeling that the people who built it had something very strong in mind, maybe more than the astronomy and the worship. And I wish to goodness I knew what it was, and maybe I never will.
German scientist Werner von Braun is considered to be the architect of America's space program. Von Braun and his team took the technology from the German V-2 rocket, which had been created for destruction, and applied it to the development of the chariots that would take man to new worlds.
There's never been an astronaut who got on a spacecraft, whether it was Mercury, Apollo, or even Shuttle, who didn't fully understand the risk involved and who wasn't willing to take them.
The only voyage of the Titanic was surrounded by bad luck that defies belief. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was as if she was cursed. A curse, some say, began when she was launched.
When it happened, he came back. He said, "It's nothing much. They only struck an iceberg."
This magnificent object is a symbol of genius, of ambition, and of dedication, for it is believed to have taken 30 years to construct. And that construction is not the least of its miracles.
It stands as one of the most prominent monuments for its size and complexity, and also its lack of information about it. To be able to plan and economically accomplish such a large feat for the pharaoh is extraordinary.
This is the mark of Sasquatch, taken from a set of tracks that covered a 5-mile stretch of dense forest. The depth of each print indicates that whatever made it weighed 800 pounds. 800 pounds. And there's other, more dramatic evidence. On a hot afternoon in October, Roger Patterson and a friend were riding through some woods in northern California. Suddenly their horses shied. They looked ahead and saw something squatting by the creek. As the creature ambled away, Patterson took this film that has been analyzed, debated, and contested ever since.